Welcome to Let's Talk Poverty, the podcast that helps you understand poverty in Calgary through the lens of enough for all. It tackles the stigma surrounding poverty, challenging biases and assumptions. From the voices of lived experience to community members to highlighting raw data, we speak with subject matter and policy experts, community leaders, and you to explore the root causes of poverty in our city and how we can come together to make changes that matter. Let's Talk Poverty is recorded in Treaty 7. The lands of the Blackfoot Nations, the Siksika, the Piikani, and the Kainai. We also acknowledge the Tsuut'ina and Stoney Nakoda First Nations and the Métis Nation of Alberta, Districts 5 and 6. Welcome to Let's Talk Poverty. I'm Jaclyn Silbernagel, and in this episode, we're hearing directly from people with lived experience of poverty. Members of the Enough for All Lived Experience Network join us to share their stories and expertise. They challenge some of the common myths and stereotypes about poverty, sharing the needs they see in their lives and in community, and how we can bring more care to those in our communities that are struggling to make ends meet. Please be aware that some of these stories may be difficult to hear. When we talk about poverty, we talk about the systems that keep poverty in place. We're grateful to those who shared their insights and expertise. These shared experiences reflect barriers to finding steady work, managing the impacts of mental and physical health challenges, and coping with the rising cost of living, all while trying to stay connected and finding belonging in communities. To respect anonymity, we did not include the names of the community members. They share their stories to build understanding. This is what they shared. To get things started with our listeners, please share a little bit about yourself and your personal experience with poverty.
Poverty can be seen in so many different forms and shapes, but I have experienced it in the sense of food affordability.
Well, for me, my experience with poverty, I didn't realize I was generational poverty.
I was born really into poverty. My parents didn't have a whole lot growing up. They struggled all their lives. Lost my mother to addiction due to poverty issues and struggles. And it's kind of been my whole way of life. So I did face homelessness for a while with my daughter while going through cancer treatment.
I have lived experience of being homeless. It was through unfortunate circumstances that led me to the drop-in. I've never had an addiction or anything like that. I just went through a terrible divorce and had a husband with a terminal illness. It was just dysfunctional family issues that led to me being homeless.
I'm an immigrant. I moved here when I was in my teens. And then, I worked 3-4 jobs. So basically not having any sleep, and then got laid off. So about for a few years, it was very, very hard to survive.
When I was 20 and I couldn't get a job to save my life, I finally got pushed out of school at 21 because you can't be any older than that to attend. And at 24, I found out I only had a grade 3 reading and writing. And I lost my health and I put on 200 pounds and I can't get rid of it. So then my laboring jobs are taken from me. So on top of no education, I can't stock shelves. I can't even get in the heavy equipment to operate it. I can't shovel or rake.
Like for myself, a person who's even educated, I have a 35% chance of getting hired just due to the fact that I'm a person with disabilities, regardless of my education.
It also boils down to your mental health in the end too, if you think about it, because being anxious and you don't know what's going to happen or if you're going to have food on the table the following day.
And then it's hard to watch everything be out of your reach. So then mental health kicks in with depression. And then I did medicate with alcohol for quite a long time. And thank God that's over with.
There's many things that can just completely turn a person around. But going from somebody who was so physically healthy and not having to worry about my rent or food or what my child or children are going to wear or eat, or going from making like $63 an hour to living on a social welfare system of $950 a month. Yeah, that's a hard hit. That's a hard thing to grasp. You wonder, how did I end up here?
What myths or stereotypes about poverty do you want to address or correct?
Because you have faced poverty or you are facing it, you can come out of it. When you be honest and open, you are stereotyped.
People stereotype you and don't want to be your friend.
People who live on social securities are somehow lazy and don't want to do anything. And that's not the case. That's not the truth.
And I have a learning disability, which probably stems from trauma in the womb. The brain damage that I suffer is invisible. So people think, like, stereotype that I'm lazy, I'm greedy, I'm useless, I'm a user. But I literally can't do the work.
As a person that has experienced homelessness but not addiction before, I want to put to bed the myth that people that are Indigenous are alcoholics or drug addicts.
What stands out from your experience navigating systems meant to provide care or support?
Through my experience of navigating systems, it's really tough because there's only so many systems out there that are so willing to help.
There's a lot of red tape.
But my timeline, it was like just so shameful that if you had to ask for help, you know, you didn't want to be that person.
Nobody really knows what support systems are out there versus what is available to what isn't available, especially in certain incidents like that when you're in practically living in a hospital and you're working with social workers and that, and you're asking them directly, like, well, what help and supports are out there, and they don't even know themselves. You're constantly always meeting somebody new, and they want to hear your story and your background and what you've been through and what you've gone through, and then you start to open up to these people and trust them, and then the next thing you know, they're gone too, and then you got somebody new coming in, and it's very frustrating.
The other barrier that people face in utilizing resources for housing and whatever is transit. If you don't have transit fare to get from point A to point B, then people, for the majority, don't bother because they don't want to get ticketed. I've had crying moments before over utilizing things to, like, accessing health because I don't feel at times I'm listened to.
The food bank was very, very helpful, but now it is so hard for everyone. Even the support systems are struggling to support the need. So the struggle for the struggling people are getting worse. It's like a snowball effect, right? If you have to go there because you have no choice. You are ruining, spending time with your family. You become anxious too, that are you going to make it on time? Are you going to be able to get the supplies that you need? Because it's you don't know what you're going to get. They don't give you a list. So it is anxiousness, and the compounding effect is of time, that the time to get there, the time to get it. And if you think about it, because being anxious and you don't know what's going to happen, or if you're going to have food on the table the following day, it can, the snowball effect is your mental health.
Through my personal experience, I've been told just because you have cancer doesn't mean that we're going to help you, or just because you have an eviction notice and you have a severe illness, we don't think that you're top priority of help.
All of us need help somehow. May not all be the same way, but in some way. So having access to like social care, mental health.
How can we create a future where no one is left behind? What message do you want to leave with listeners?
Making things affordable that will help some of the people who are in poverty to come out of it slightly, and providing funding to organizations, because if the food bank, for example, if they don't have funding, if they don't get donations, how are they going to help the people in need?
Heading to the winter, nobody's talking about warming stations and overload of shelters to accommodate people. And we need a lot of more change makers and people to step up and speak out about things, because staying quiet just isn't working anymore.
I think how we have to address and correct these issues is by people actually listening to our stories. That everybody has a story.
The community that can make or break you. So that's why more awareness and more exposure to this, to the world and the people out there, that you are a big community that you have to help, not drag them down.
Everybody has a story, and if you took like just 5 minutes of your time to listen to their story instead of being afraid and judgmental.
Compassion, where we need to be empathetic and compassionate with each other and just really support each other and help each other through the best way that we can, whether you're a support worker of some kind or whether you're a client.
More compassion is needed, compassionate approach to a lot of things in our city. We talk about the truth and reconciliation, the calls to action, and from my experience, those things cannot happen until we actually learn to communicate with each other. People walk by with no sense of compassion at all. They'd rather have them die in the street than try to save them, or ask them, are you cold? Are you hungry? Would you like a coffee?
Nobody wants to be left behind.
At VCC, we strive to build a future where there is enough for all. For all listeners, we invite you to reflect on this question: how can we create a future where no one is left behind? Thank you again to the members of the Lived Experience Network for sharing their experiences and expertise. We're so grateful to you. Your voices are so key to enhancing well-being in our communities. Thank you. Thanks for listening to Let's Talk Poverty. Subscribe, check out more episodes on enoughforall.ca, and follow us on social at Vibrant Calgary. Thanks for listening.